All right, next up we have Florida versus Georgia. I say versus and not at because it is in Jacksonville. It's the cocktail party, or at least that's what they used to call it. The game's at 2:30 Central on CBS, as it always is. Georgia is a 22.5 point favorite. The over/under is at only 56.5 points. I think they're expecting a little bit of a boat race about this. And Hammer, okay, just devil's advocate. How does Florida even stay in this game?
Watch film of Missouri. Watch that game. Who no one thought had a chance. In that matchup, Missouri did a really good job on their defensive front, getting pressure, stopping the run, and basically making Stetson Bennett beat them through the air. I do think if there is a weakness to Georgia, that's still what it is. I'm not trying to throw shade at Stetson Bennett. I think he's a very good college quarterback. It's just if I'm picking the lesser of two evils here, it's let's make Stetson Bennett and those wide receivers beat me, down the field. Try to blanket Brock Bowers as best as you can. Force them to use, Lad McConkey and that other group of receivers to actually beat you. Can Florida do that? We'll see. And then on offense, Florida's been so inconsistent, it's hard to say. Obviously, ideally, running the football would be great, just to control the clock, keep the ball out of Georgia's offense's hands. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball well, at least traditionally. Perhaps Anthony Richardson could break off a few runs. He's certainly capable of that. I just don't know if the Georgia defense is going to let that happen. Look, if I'm Napier, this is a game where you empty out everything you have in the chamber, right? Whatever offensive plays you may have withheld, or you may think we're not ready to run, well, at least try them this weekend because you're a 22-point dog to your biggest rival. So let it all out on the field. Let Anthony Richardson run. Let him throw it deep. Try to test that Georgia secondary that I think is very good, but I don't think they've really been tested that well. Not that Florida's the team to do that, but at least try to test them downfield. And I think that gives you the best chance. I don't think it's a great chance, but I think it's the best you got.
All right, boss man. Georgia, the other side of the coin. What does Georgia need to do for this to kind of go the way we expect it to go? Is this a Stetson Bennett tight end type game, or is it the run the football type of game?
I think if you're Georgia, you just got to establish the run. And then I think on the defensive side of the ball, you got to stop the run. I don't think Anthony Richardson, he's only shown us really one game where he got it going through the air, and that was against Tennessee. Since then, it's been pretty shaky. It seems like they still haven't really figured out what clicks with Anthony Richardson in the passing game. So I expect Georgia to load the box, try and take away that running game with Etienne, with putting a spy on Anthony Richardson. So the only way I really see that Florida can win this game is if Anthony Richardson is able to hit a few of those chunk plays down the field, get a few vertical routes, maybe get a few posts in the middle of the field, get some 25-yard plays, get some 35-yard plays, things like that, to maybe open up that defense a little bit for Georgia, because I expect them to pack it in, put that spy on Anthony Richardson, and they're not going to be able to run the ball if they do that well. So you got to be able to open it up a little bit, get those Georgia linebackers, watching the pass game, backing up a little bit, and then hopefully Anthony Richardson can break off a couple of runs because you're going to need that to happen as well. So if you're Georgia, just got to make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure that you're tight on the outside in coverage, that Anthony Richardson, you get some pressure on him as well so that he doesn't get comfortable back there. And he's been generally inaccurate with the football. Sometimes he's crazy accurate, but he throws at 150 miles an hour, so nobody can catch the ball. So you just got to create pressure against Anthony Richardson in the passing game and make sure that they don't get too many run plays on you.
All right, Hank, what is your prediction for this game?
I like Georgia to win. I think that's an easy pick, and I would pick them to cover as well. I think, look, this is a rivalry game. Georgia has dominated it for the most part since Kirby took over, and I think Kirby takes pride in that. This is a rivalry game that means a lot to Georgia. Kirby's a Georgia alum, and it means a lot in recruiting, right? You got a Billy Napier who is doing a very good job on the recruiting trail currently. in his first year. So even if Florida does not win, but if they keep it close, that's something that Napier can sell, right? Is, hey, we get a couple more players in here, we're this close. Well, Kirby doesn't want that to happen. So I like Florida to win big here. I just don't think we've seen anything from Anthony Richardson that really gives you confidence he's going to be able to consistently get yards against this Georgia defense. And Florida's rush defense is pretty poor. I think they give up 185 yards a game to their opponents rushing the football. So if you're Georgia, that kind of opens everything up. If they can establish the run, then that's when Monken gets creative. He gets creative with his tight ends, gets them the ball. They hit you deep on a play action. So I just think it's a tough matchup for Florida right now. And I think this is a game that Georgia will be ready for, and they will be looking to embarrass Florida. So I like them to win and cover.
Yeah. You, boss man?
Yeah, we've been saying it a lot on our previews and our recaps on biscuitsandSEC.com this year. Don't pick with us. Whatever we pick against the spread, just don't listen to us. Bet against us because it's been a rough year. That's not just us. That's been on a lot of other podcasts. The folks out there listen to a bunch of other college football shows. But with that said, I agree with Hank. I think Georgia is going to cover in this game. I just think that they're too much for Florida right now. I don't think Florida has the horses to hang with them. They haven't figured it out on offense just yet with Anthony Richardson. And without Anthony Richardson throwing the ball, I don't think that they're going to be able to establish the run. I don't think that you'll see as many scrambles from Anthony Richardson as you're going to need. You're going to need a little bit of backyard football, I think, out of Florida in order to win this one. I think Georgia is too disciplined. I think that they're going to be able to establish the run game in this one. And as Hank said, that's when Monken gets creative. So I expect Georgia to cover in this one and win pretty easily.
Yeah, it's the CBS game at 2:30 Central on Saturday. Georgia 22.5-point favorites, 56.5-point over-under. It is the game of the week in the SEC. Probably shouldn't be, but it is.